We're back here with Jim of Fort Core Heating and Cooling. And Jim, the question of the day is, what is the most expensive part to replace in a furnace? But to make this fun, how about this? Could you maybe tell us what are the 3 most expensive parts to replace in a furnace, and then reveal what is the most expensive part?
Okay.
Can you do that? It'll be fun.
Sure. On a gas furnace, okay, which is normally what you have out there, you have a heat exchanger where the fuel fires up and the fuel burns through the center of it, and the air from the house is circulated around the outer surfaces.
Okay.
And hence we call it a heat exchanger, because we're exchanging the heat from the fossil fuel to the house air, but we have to exhaust that combustion products for moisture and for carbon monoxide. We want to get rid of it. And if it's ever compromised where that heat exchanger splits, cracks, and has potential for leaking into the house, we have to replace the furnace or replace the heat exchanger.
Okay.
Number 2, if you're talking newer technology, the newer furnaces, they all have circuit boards, printed circuit boards now. High-end electronics, and the circuit boards will control everything. It used to be you'd have 4 or 5 different controls doing different things. Now the motherboard is kind of controls all functions of that furnace. You have Venter motors where we don't have chimneys anymore, natural draft type equipment. We induce the draft where we use a Venter motor to create a draft, and then we'll either sidewall vent it or go into a chimney liner if it's an 80% furnace. And finally, the circulation blower, the blower that circulates the air over the heat exchanger and through your duct system, okay, if it's a forced air system. And those have upgraded. They've come up with more efficient motors, more powerful motors, but at a cost. Those have.
Wait. Let us guess now. So we're down to heat exchanger, blower. What was the name of the motor you called it?
Venter motor. Venter.
Okay, and the blower.
And main blower. Main blower, Venter blower, heat exchanger, and control board.
Before Jim tells us, what do you think it is? Take a moment. Okay. All right, Jim, before you tell me, I'm going to say the heat exchange. Am I right? Because
all right, you'd be right on the heat exchanger. That's why most people, when they have a heat exchanger, expands and contracts every time that furnace fires up, and it's made out of metal. And over the years, it fatigues. That's why we give them a 20-year lifespan. That after about 20 years or thereabouts of expanding and contracting, a crack is natural. Now, a lot of these newer furnaces, they give you a lifetime heat exchanger warranty. Okay, so that's covered, but the labor is like replacing an engine block on a car. Okay, you have to gut the appliance and then install the new heat exchanger. Well, it's very labor intensive. And if your heat exchanger happens to last 20 years, by that time, everything else is 20 years old too. Everything else that I just described. So do you want to replace a 20-year-old heat exchanger and then turn around and next year replace a 20-year-old control board or Venter motor? And by the time you replace it, you've basically paid for a new furnace, but you still have the same old one. So that's why the heat exchangers are very rarely replaced unless for some reason they fail within a shorter period of time for whatever reason. If it's a premature failure, hey, then it's time for the warranty to cover, and it's still a new furnace. But if it's a 20-year-old furnace, usually it's time to buy a new furnace.
Well, Jim, thanks a lot for filling us in on that. That was just kind of fun. And
sure.
I won. I did get the right. I can't believe it. I never win anything. So, hey, if there's something you think is wrong with your furnace, or even if there isn't, if you just need some regular routine maintenance done, some cleaning or such, get in touch with Fort Core. You can see them at fortcoreheating.com. And that's heating and cooling. Remember this in the summertime too? they work on air conditionings as well. So give them a call, get in touch, and let them take care of any problem you have. Thanks a lot for watching.